Hi, I'm Stephen and I'm your chef here at Lake Tahoe. Today we're going to do a New York peppered steak with a Brandy Cream sauce, one of these old classic traditional ones, but we found that our guests really love it here a lot. We're going to start with a choice New York that we get actually in Carson Valley. It's a local meat provider that do that. It has a lot of great marbling. You'll see in here where you can actually see a lot of the white lines. It actually has fat growing in the meat, which actually makes it more tender and has a lot more flavor. So as you look online, you can see the ingredient list that we left for you. And what we want to do is just start with the little pepper steak. Put a little oil on there, rub it around. You can use canola oil, which I use here, which is a blended oil of 75% canola, 25% extra virgin. And then we add a little salt. And we take this cracked pepper. Now, cracked pepper is fully cracked. It comes in containers. And what happens is it doesn't have so much powder to it. It's very, very coarse. And what that does is it leaves a more really flavorful pepper flavor to it instead of a burnt, powdery pepper flavor to it. So a lot of people ask, well, that's an awful lot of pepper. How's that going to taste? Well, in truth is you're only putting the pepper on the top. And also too is once pepper actually hits hot oil in a hot pan, it changes the flavor of it. So it's not so real intense. So we're going to start with your peppered steak. We're going to start with a really hot pan. We use these stainless steel pans, which work really great. The reason I like these pans so much is because they have a pad on the bottom. And instead of getting little spots of heat coming through, what you do is you get this real even heat all the way to the edge of the tip, so you have equal heat throughout the whole pan, which is really important when you're cooking. While this pan's heating up, we have 1 cup of beef stock. Now, we make our own here at the Ridge. We do everything from scratch. You can buy a really great organic beef stock. Really wonderful. You get it at Trader Joe's or Costco. You just have to be able to look around for it. Look on the boxes. Make sure that it doesn't have a really high sodium content. And if you can, always avoid the cubes. The cubes are like pure sodium. Not a lot of flavor and a lot of ingredients put in there. So what we're looking for on this is to bring this stock to a boil. We want to be able to have everything ready. This is actually going to happen really fast. So you notice here that I have all my ingredients that you see on your list, and it's all ready to go. Once this beef stock comes to a boil, remember the recipe that I gave you is only for 2 people. So we want to, once this comes to a boil, you want to kind of reduce it down to a medium heat. You'll be checking right here next to it. So everything you have is right here. So it makes it really simple to get to find that rhythm. So what I like to do also, and this is just something that I do on my own, is I really don't like to take a piece of meat right out of the refrigerator and put it right in the heat. I really like to let it come to a little bit more of a room temp. It cooks more evenly. The cold isn't fighting the hot, so it gets a really nice even color all the way through as it cooks. So I would say 15 to 20 minutes, it's safe, as long as it's not in a direct sunlight or a direct heat source. You're good. So you notice that when I'm getting my pan hot, I don't put the oil in right away. I'm going to wait until the very last minute to put my oil in before I put my steak in. The reason is I don't want the flavors of the oils to change as the pan is heating up. I want to put the oil in, keep its integrity. As soon as it hits that, put the meat in there, and you'll see it'll happen really fast. Okay, the beef stock is now come to a boil. I'm going to add Dijon mustard. I'm going to swirl that around. It's really well cooked into it. stock's starting to take on a cloudier color. It's integrating the Dijon mustard, is integrating into it. Starting to lighten it up a little bit. The cream's going to add that really nice viscosity, real thickness, smoothness to it. We're going to let that reduce a little bit. My hand's very close now. So what we do here at the Ridge is we really try to do most of the things from scratch. Everywhere we can, we make our own beef stocks, chicken stocks, do our own meal, demi-glaze. The food at the restaurant is very simple, but very time-consuming food because we really want to make sure it's done simply but done really well. Our crews come in and they really do a lot of prep, so when you actually come into our dining room, all our cooks are just sitting there working on technique and plating and putting your food out. So the focus is always about you not running around trying to find anything. It's always about coming in, making sure that you have simply great Idaho trout, simply great Scottish salmon that have been loaded from Scotland, trout's loaded from Idaho. It's really wonderful. We try to prepare it simply. We do a lot of really great herb oil that really brings out some flavors in the food. But the steaks, all the seafood, the pasta's done from scratch, and the seafood's all fresh. So we're ready to go with the steaks. Put the oil in. The peppers evenly dispersed on the steak. You notice the steam coming, the smoke coming up from the pan. So that tells me in cooking you're always looking for different signs. You're using your eyes, your ears, your nose, your senses when you're cooking. It really is important to use all those senses that are given. So we're seeing this and I'm smelling the oil. So I want to put that in there. I want to put the flat down. The next sense I'm using, I'm trying to hear, and I can hear that the oil is talking. So it's really good to be able to know that too. So you could do this in two different ways, and sometimes I do this. I'm looking for what I am looking for on this before I turn it is a really nice pepper crust, which isn't black, but it is a tan of a dark cafe color, dark brown. And if you want, you can sear these ahead of time. If you have guests coming over, you can pan sear these ahead of time, and then when your guests come in, you could actually throw them in the oven and cook them off to your desired temperature. So